Yo, what's up, everybody? I'm Bob Walters. This is Locked Up Sports. How are you today? What's going on? Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. Don't forget to rate, review, and subscribe. Every little bit helps. NFL preseason underway. Week 1. The Hall of Fame game was last week. Then now it's week 1 of preseason. The games are really useless to watch. They're really boring, terrible product that the NFL kind of forces down its season ticket holders' throats and forces it everywhere. And you know what? People are going to watch. The Hall of Fame game got, I forget what it was. We got like 18 million viewers. It was the number one program that night. People eat this stuff up. They love it. They love anything content involving the NFL just gets monster ratings, whether it be college kids running a 40-yard dash or whether it's, a meaningless preseason game in the first or second week of August. It kills the ratings. It beats everything else. And that's just what it is. I happen to not be very interested in the preseason, but the Jets do play later tonight. So we're gonna go over some Jet stuff. Last night was the first real night of a bunch of games going on. You had you had Fernando Mendoza out there. He went out there. He played well, supposedly. 10 of 16, 97 yards, a touchdown. Kirk Cousins played one drive for the Raiders. He drove them down, scored a touchdown. So that competition there is good. I think Kirk Cousins is going to win, and I think Kirk Cousins should be the starting quarterback. I think rookie quarterbacks should not start their first year unless they absolutely have to. Problem is they pay him all this money. Mendoza's making a boatload of money. Raiders want to get him in there. But Kirk Cousins is going to be the more seasoned quarterback. It's going to take a little while. The Raiders are going nowhere, probably anyway this season. But, at least let him sit for half the season, right? At least let him learn a little bit. Kirk Cousins could be a good person to learn from, and Mendoza can do that. And if he soaks up everything that he sees and that he learns in practice, everything, he'll be a better quarterback coming in. Even the Giants did that with Eli, right? Eli even sat through the first 10, 11 games watching Kurt Warner before he came in. But that's another world, because now they pay him boatload of money, all these millions of dollars, the signing bonus. They want him to play. They don't want their big investment sitting on the sideline making $10 million, $20 million. So Mendoza in there, he played well. Take it for what with a grain of salt, because it's really he's not playing against the top defenses. They're not running. They're running regular, plain, no blitzes or anything type of defenses. They're just standard. It's not an NFL game. So, you could say he looked good, and he did. 10 of 16, 97 yards, a touchdown. Okay. He had a couple 3-and-outs where they punted. It is what it is. Basically, what you want out of the preseason is no injuries. That's all they want. That's all the coaches want. That's all that's all you should even want, is just no injuries. Doesn't matter if you win. Doesn't matter if you lose. Doesn't matter if these guys look good or not either. You just want them to get out of there healthy. You don't want a devastating injury in preseason. God forbid, you lose your quarterback, and somebody's going to. There's going to be a big injury somewhere in these next 3 weeks that's going to tank a team season. And it's a shame when it happens. But as far as the Steelers go, the Steelers also played the Packers last night. Drew Allar, Penn State, the Penn State quarterback, the Steelers' second-round pick. He was 10 of 13, 3 touchdowns. He threw for 2. He ran for 1. Again, take it for what it was. He threw for 153 yards. He was in there for a good bulk of the time because Aaron Rodgers isn't playing. He's not. Aaron Rodgers is not going out there and playing in the preseason. He'll wait till the first 3 snaps of the game to get hurt. Steelers win that game 28-9. But Drew Allar was the story coming out of there. Played well. 10 of 13, 2 touchdowns, a rushing touchdown. So, the Steelers are all, we got our guy after, when Rodgers splits at the end of this year. Back to the Raiders game, they played the Cardinals. The Cardinals, Jeremiah Love, the number 3 pick in the draft, out of Notre Dame, the running back, he was good too. 11 carries, 58 yards. He also had 3 receptions. I think he's going to be good. He was good at Notre Dame. He was their main, workhorse. He's going to be another workhorse for the Cardinals. Are going to be no good because they're in a monster division with Seattle and they're just and the Rams. It's gonna be forget it. The Cardinals are in bad shape this year. 3 wins maybe. They might have the number 1 pick again next year. But the running back looks good, and I think he's gonna be good out of Notre Dame. They did have an injury. Here you go. Right? What was I just saying? Their 2nd round pick. What's his name? Chase Besantis, the guard, offensive guard. Looks like he might have blown his knee out. He was down. He was writhing in pain, rolling around, holding the back of the knee. Not good. Not good. I didn't see it, so I don't know if it was I'm actually watching the highlights now, but I don't know if it was a non-contact thing. If it was a non-contact thing, then you're looking at, it could be, that's it. That's it for him. That could be a big injury for the Cardinals. This 2nd round pick, he's an offensive, he's going to protect the quarterback. So we'll see what goes on there. Now, interesting with the Vikings, they named Kyler Murray the starting quarterback, which means J.J. McCarthy, who was their starting quarterback last year and was, disappointed. 2 years ago, they were a good team. Vikings went to the playoffs, I think a divisional round. They won the division. Last year, not so much. J.J. McCarthy was terrible. So now, all of a sudden, you hear the people from the Jets. Should they kick the tires? There was an article today, I think USA Today. Should the Jets kick the tires on J.J. McCarthy? Maybe a trade. They have a ton of draft picks. You're not going to give a 1st-round pick, which they have 3 of for next year. But should they make a trade, possibly get somebody in here behind Geno Smith, anticipating that, this fan base is not going to be happy with this team probably 5 or 6 weeks into the season. Maybe they're gonna be calling for the quarterback's head, calling for the coach's head, because the Jets are not going to be a good team this year. I think you're looking at the Jets fans now. They're a little delusional. Oh, we got I think we look better. I think and you probably are. You can't be worse than last year. You can't be worse than 3-14. You can't be worse than an offense that couldn't complete a forward pass last year. So they can't be worse, but that doesn't mean they're going to be anything, to talk about or anything like that. Jets are going to be like a 4 or 5 win team. So now, do you trade for J.J. McCarthy to have somebody back there when the inevitable, let's get rid of Geno Smith starts, closing in on him, and when Aaron Glenn has got to put somebody in the quarterback basically to save his own ass because he's not winning, it's not a bad idea. He's a reasonable, he's an okay quarterback. He obviously disappointed last year in Minnesota, but as a backup, I would kick the tires on with Minnesota, see what they want, maybe because he might demand a trade. He's not going to be happy. They've named the starter already before they played a preseason game, which means Kyler Murray must be much better in practice. They haven't even seen him play yet in a game situation, and they've already named him the starting quarterback before even the first preseason game. I'm sure J.J. McCarthy's not happy about that. I'm sure he's probably could possibly demand a trade. The Jets could go and kind of force them, and we'll see what it is. Now, as far as the Jets go, they play tomorrow night, MetLife Stadium, home to Tampa Bay. They've been scrimmaging practicing with Tampa Bay for the last 3 days. So these guys are, they've been hitting each other. You never know what's going to go on here. They got to bring these teams in because they fight with each other after the 2 weeks or 3 weeks of basically just hitting each other on their own team. Teams start fighting with each other, and that's how you saw the Giants did it 2 weeks ago. You had the quarterback throw the ball at the defender's head, and then huge brawls broke out. They had to discipline Dart. Yeah, it is what it is. So they bring in other teams. Usually the team they're playing that week. This week, of course, the Jets brought in Tampa. They practiced with them. They scrimmaged them and stuff like just so you could hit somebody else on another team during practice. You're not beating each other up anymore. So they are familiar with each other. They've been practicing all week. So they will play a game tomorrow night, 7 o'clock, I think, maybe 8 o'clock at MetLife Stadium. If you have tickets, I'm telling you, if you have tickets, there was a guy on, I think it was Facebook or something today. I saw he commented in a Jets group saying, going to my first Jets game on Friday. Can't wait. I know it's preseason, but I'm still so excited. He was asking for people the best ways to get to MetLife. And I just kind of was like, listen, you don't want to hear this, but it's not going to be good. It's not going to be good. It's not that. And besides the fact that the Jets are not a good team, the preseason is the worst product you could possibly have. You could be excited about going, and it's your first Jets game. Don't judge that as what a Jets game really is like, a meaningful NFL game. Meaningful NFL games are fun to go to. The Jets won't play many of them this year, but the first preseason, and now Aaron Glenn has made a declaration that the starters are going to play 25 to 30 snaps. To me, that's crazy. 25 to 30 snaps is a lot. Well, what if they go a couple three and out? You're talking about the whole first half, possibly. You're going to have these guys in your whole first half of the first preseason game? You better hope nobody gets hurt. They're already gunning for Aaron Glenn. Start out with, getting you get David Bailey hurt. Forget it. And with the Jets, you can see it happening because it's the Jets, right? This is the team who had Aaron Rodgers, and 3 plays into his Jets career, he blew out his Achilles. So you got to have that in the back of your head if you're the Jets. But David Bailey apparently has been fantastic. He's been the best player on the Jets in camp. He's dominating on the pass rush. He's everything that they want the number 2 pick to be. He's everything that the Jets thought he would be. That's all you're hearing out of Jets camp. Geno Smith, listen, he had the things early with the getting pulled over and the things with the cops, the girlfriend and the ex-girlfriend. That kind of has gone away a little bit. Geno Smith, apparently he has good days and he has bad. Some days he looks good. Some days it's picks all over the place, and that's what Geno Smith is, right? We saw Geno Smith do that with the Jets when he was here the first time. He went to the Raiders. He had a good season. He went. I forget where did he go? Where he had the good season, but then he went to the Raiders last year and had a bad season. Now he's back at the Jets. So we know that Geno Smith can turn the ball over. We know that he can look good too. Geno Smith is not a bad quarterback. He's not he's not going to take you anywhere crazy. He's not going to be a top 10 quarterback rated. Geno Smith is not a bad quarterback. He will get the job done, but he will make you pull your hair out with some, dumb decisions and dumb turnovers, and then that's basically what you get for Geno Smith. So, and the Jets, listen, like I said, it's an improvement. They couldn't complete a forward pass last year with the quarterback. That's how bad the Jets were. I mean, the special teams was okay, but the defense this year, besides Bailey, who looks okay, who looks really good, supposedly in camp, and is getting to the quarterback and is making plays. Is he might be the kind of player that can wreck a game, which is great. The problem is he better get to the quarterback before they throw it, because if they throw it, the Jets secondary is terrible. Okay, they're going to be torn to shreds by these quarterbacks. So if they don't get to the quarterback and sack the quarterback, these quarterbacks are going to just cut the Jets secondary to ribbons. It's just as bad as it was last year, possibly worse. The Jets offense better. They should, run in. Listen, they could run into a couple more wins than 3 last year. I'm thinking maybe 5, but I can't see the Jets winning more than 5 games. And it's going to be, is Aaron Glenn going to have a job? Is Frank Reich going to be the coach of the Jets in what, week 10? Week 8? Do they start off 0-6? And then all of a sudden, they got to make the changes. That's why I think you bring J.J. McCarthy in here. What do you throw him like a 3rd round pick? Throw him a 3rd round and a 4th round. I bet that'll get you J.J. McCarthy, and bring him in because the Vikings are going to not want anything to do with it. He's going to start making noise. Going to start saying how he's pissed off. He's going to be moping around. They don't want any of that. They don't want a piece of that. So they'll take your picks, 3rd round, 4th round, get J.J. McCarthy in here. At least you have a viable backup. Because right now the Jets' backup is, I forget who it is. It's a kid. It's a kid. Kubiak is the Jets' backup quarterback. Supposedly he's all right. I mean, he might be okay but it's not. J.J. McCarthy is probably going to be better. He was the 1st round pick. He was good at Michigan. Bring him in. Give the Vikings the 3rd or 4th round pick, and at least have somebody decent there in anticipation that you're probably going to be a bad team. You're probably going to have the fans calling for Geno's head, and they're going to be calling for Aaron Glenn's head. And what Aaron Glenn can do to save himself a couple weeks and give himself a couple more paychecks is put the backup quarterback in and let him get killed. So then the fans can throw him some meat and let them kill the quarterbacks. But I don't know if Aaron Glenn even makes the to the end of the season, because he was lost last year. Terrible. And he was one of the worst coaches. The Jets last year were one of the worst coach teams you will ever see. They couldn't do anything right. They had no preparation. They couldn't throw the ball. They ran just terrible defensive schemes. There was no blitzes. It was just, I mean, it was hard to watch. The fact that there was a team worse than the Jets is amazing last year, because literally no offense, zero offense, and then they came and they mailed it in a couple games, and just no preparation. And apparently Aaron Glenn, according to other sources and stuff that talk shows and whatnot, he's lost all power. He has no power. He's basically, the GM is running the show there. Aaron Glenn's got to go to the GM to make any decisions. It's not a good place to start, really. And Aaron Glenn, listen, he was a hot ticket, right? Dallas was talking about hiring him as a coach. He was a coach in Dallas. He came here and he just wasn't. It's a different deal when you're a head coach. You got to run the whole thing. It's different than being a DB coach or the coach of the defense, or even a defensive coordinator. When you're the head coach, you got to run the whole thing. And that was the problem, like we said, with Rex Ryan. He just ran the defense. He ignored the offense. Jets got to get it right. They got to get somebody in here, be a head coach. It's been a long time since the Jets have had a viable head coach, because Aaron Glenn last year was not it. And a lot of people are surprised that he even got this year. But he does. He has this year. And listen, maybe he surprises. Maybe the Jets surprise. So far, like I said, David Bailey, star of the camp, best player on the team. He came in here and it's his team now, basically. Geno could have done that, but Geno came in and he was getting pulled over and arrested, and ex-girlfriend saying he's beating him. And that's not, it's very Jets is what it is. So we'll see. We'll see how things go with the Jets. As far as, they brought in some receivers. They got a tight end now who's somewhat, who's an NFL tight end who's going to make some catches in Sadiq. They got Garrett Wilson, who clearly didn't get along with Aaron Rodgers now. And then last year, forget about last year with the quarterback. He couldn't throw it to him. So, but Garrett Wilson clearly couldn't get along with Aaron Rodgers. He supposedly has a better rapport with Geno. They're working together. They're coming together. They're making plays. Omar Cooper, they brought in the wide receiver. Again, could maybe be a second man. We'll see. But he's going to have, supposedly, what Aaron Glenn has said, if you hold him to his word, 25 to 30 plays for the starters. It's, that's interesting to me. It's a lot. It seems like a lot. A lot of these teams, you'll see these starters either don't play or they get one possession. Like Kirk Cousins with the Raiders, which is why I think he's going to be starting. Got one possession. That's all he needs. He's in practice. He's been in the league forever. He doesn't need to be out there for 2, 3, a whole quarter. You just get people hurt doing that, and you don't want. That's all you want to do. Is if you ask any of these NFL coaches, just get out of there healthy. That's all they want to do. They don't care if they win. They don't care if they play well. They get out of there healthy. Now the Giants play on Saturday. So they got the Vikings at MetLife, so both teams are home, and we'll see what they do there. I don't know whether Harbaugh is going to play I'm sure Darnold and Scatterbo and them and Neighbors, who really has been out, is going to want to run a couple routes and some live game action. I'm sure he'll get they'll get a drive or 2 drives, maybe even the first quarter, but that's it. That's all they're all going to give him. The Giants camp is a whole different ball game because it's being run by a professional coach who's a real NFL coach, a successful NFL coach, and they're changing the culture there completely. He's kicking their ass. Is Harbaugh is what he's doing. It's no more this fooling around and clowning around. It's training camp, and it's like kind of like it used to be. But Jets go tomorrow night. Jets Bucks. You'll see Baker's not going to play. He's not. He's got his contract thing going, so we'll see. Like I said, I probably won't be watching. I might flip it on for, first quarter, maybe, just because there might not be anything else on. Like the Mets, am I going to want? Do I want to watch the Mets? Would probably just as bad. So I'll flip it on, and I will watch a little bit of with the starters. I'll see what Geno does. I want to see David Bailey, see if he is, what they say he is, which is a game wrecker and a get to the quarterback in like the first real pass rusher, danger to that could wreck a game that the Jets have had in a long time. So we'll see. And maybe he is. Listen, number 2 pick, right? Number 2 pick's gotta supposed to be like that. It's supposed to be when you need a number 2 pick in the whole draft. You're making a lot of money. Get out there and get to the court. Giants haven't had that with their number 2 pick from 2 years ago. So we'll see how it goes. Jets, Tampa tomorrow. Giants, Vikings on Saturday. We'll do some Giants tomorrow before the game or maybe Saturday before the game. Either way, I think they're a 1 o'clock game, which is weird, right? These 1 o'clock on the weekend, Saturday and Sunday games, preseason games. To me, that's weird because my entire life, the preseason was always like a Friday night or Saturday night. They never had 1 o'clock games. Remember last year I flipped on, it was like there was like a slate of 1 o'clock games on Sunday in like week 2 of the preseason. Which to me is weird. Because they never did it like that. It was always on local TV, Friday night, Thursday night, Saturday night, something like that. And it'd be like, Kurt Menefee went back when he was a local guy here before he was running the Fox pregame show. Kurt Menefee and or Bruce Beck doing the game, something like that. So now they have these games national. They're on Netflix. They're all over the place. I think they're also on local TV, but like they'll get the feed on channel 11 or something like that for the Jets tomorrow. I don't know what channel they're on. I saw something here. Let me see here. Let me see. I got an article right here. I think they'll be. Here you go. Network. Oh, this is the Tampa website. Yeah, so they're on the Tampa local state. They're on WFLA in Tampa. So I'm guessing the Jets will be on some probably channel 11 or channel 9 or whatever it is, channel 5, who knows. But it'll be a local feed. So Jets tomorrow, Giants Friday, Saturday. Yankees lose today 1-0. Again, the offense no show. That's a whole nother issue. We'll get to that later this weekend. We have Brett and we have Mancini and all that coming on. So, and don't forget, we have plenty of NFL coming up this year. I don't think we're going to do any preseason games, but we got multiple games each week. Watch-alongs. We did the Mets watch-alongs the last couple days on TikTok and on YouTube. They were excellently received. A couple thousand people on TikTok watching. So that's it for now. We'll talk to you tomorrow or Saturday, definitely Sunday. See, hopefully the Jets don't get any injuries, right? Keep Bailey, keep Geno, keep them healthy. Keep Garrett Wilson healthy, for crying out loud. And, the running back, don't play the running back either. You don't need to be giving these running backs more reps because running backs have a short lifespan in the NFL. 2 years, something like that. 2-3 years, then they tank downhill. So here we go. Jets, first preseason game, preseason open today. Nothing major happened. The J.J. McCarthy thing is interesting with the Jets. We'll see what happens there. But as of right now, it's just kind of an idea that's been floating around out there in certain places. So the Jets haven't commented on it or anything like that. So that does it for me. I'm Bob Walters from the Brian Gunzel Studios. We'll talk to you next time, everybody.